shows.
The church boy here.
Kennedy said.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ukela Prince, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to Talk Your Own. In Talk Your Own, we give opportunity for us to air our views, our opinion, and also to look at our perspectives. And at the end of the day, we believe that we just create a balance, because everyone has their view, everyone has his own opinion, and so that's part of also, making sure that we're in line and in tune with how the society runs, right? So I have been on this journey with my beloved brother and friend Carlos Morgan. We've been on how to encourage the black music artists, and part of it is also to look at some of the challenges and also to provide solutions. And I have 12 episodes that I'll be going with this great man. Today is episode 4. Carlos Morgan.
Yes.
Welcome to Talk Your Own.
Thank you for having me, man.
And you have been talking it, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you so much, man. Thank you.
It's nice having you, and it's been beautiful all the way.
Yeah.
So now today we'll be looking at the lack of black music executives in the Canadian music industry. How true is that?
How true is it?
Yeah.
It's very true. There was never really any black music executives when I was really involved in the music industry. But there were some black people that worked in the industry, but not at really high executive levels. We had I know some people who worked for SOCAN, the Society of Canadian Authors and Music Publishers. And SOCAN is an organization that represents Canadian songwriters and music publishers. So there were some that worked for SOCAN. There were a few, I think, that worked for CMRRA, the Canadian Mechanical Rights, and something or the other. I can't remember the rest of the name. So, but in terms of working in or working for labels, I personally did not see a lot of black executives. They had black people working in the labels, but they would work in the junior or low-level positions, right? But if they were like A&R positions, or vice president or president positions, or head of marketing, or head of one of the major departments.
What do you think was the barrier?
Well, again, I think a lot of it has to do with, and I keep going back to this situation, but I always feel it has to do with anti-black racism. For example, one of the arguments I used to hear is that, well, we don't have a market for black music in Canada. And I would say, well, I'd said to a few people, I said, well, that's not true. And then they say, well, we don't know how to market it. Then my response would be, well, if you don't know how to market black music, then why don't you hire people that knows how to market black music in Canada for black artists in Canada? And they never did it. So you mean to tell me that they couldn't find one? And again, if they even did find one, they would tokenize that one. So they would have different markets, different departments in major labels here in Canada, but they couldn't find, say, an A&R person. They had an A&R person to go out and find artists that were rock artists or country artists or pop artists. Okay, they couldn't find any artists. They couldn't find someone who works in the music industry that could say, okay, we're going to find somebody who's black that knows R&B, that knows hip hop, that knows reggae, that knows that genre of music. We're going to hire them and say, okay, you're going to be head of A&R for the urban department. We're going to create, here's the other thing, we're going to create an urban or black music department like they have in many record labels in the US. They have black music departments. They could have done that here. For example, here's a perfect example. There was a gentleman named Ivan Barry. He had a record label called Beat Factory, and he put out compilations, right? Two successful compilations. I'm on both of the compilations. They came out in the mid-90s. They could have hired Ivan and say, okay, Ivan, you're going to be head of A&R for black music for BMG. And BMG is a major, well, it's no longer, they're a part of another company, but BMG was huge in the 90s, BMG Records. They were a huge label in the 90s, around the world, in North America for sure. So they could have said, Ivan, we want you to head up the black music department at BMG Canada. Go out and find some artists, sign them. We don't have much of a budget. We got maybe $100,000. So you're gonna have to use $100,000 to find an artist, sign an artist, make a record, right? And if it does well, then we may throw in some more marketing and promotion money. But at least here is a department that we're gonna ask you to head. They didn't do that. Then we had an artist named Jack Soul. He passed away back in, I think, 2008 or 9. His name is Hayden Neal. He had a very successful group called Jack Soul. He was working at BMG as well. So he was an artist, but he was also a songwriter. They couldn't say to him, okay, you are a black artist who's having success at a record label. You know what? We're gonna ask you to be head of A&R or head up a black music department at this record label. Go out and find black artists. They had a guy named Craig Mannix. I think he still works in the industry. He works for Sony. Now, I don't know what he's doing, but they could have said to him, okay, we need to get Craig, give him a department for black music. He's gonna go out and find artists to sign. We had so many people that were artists that were in the industry that could have said, okay, we're going to focus on black music, and we're going to hire somebody who knows the music, because we as white people. I had one executive look at me and say, listen, and he lied to me. He said, I don't listen to music, black music. I never grew up listening to black music. But then you know what he did? Turned around and signed a white guy doing black music. Okay?
So now, I'm looking at this lack of black executives in the music industry. Has it affected the kind of music, the kind of artists that have been promoted?
Yeah, because if you don't have the budget and you don't have the support, then how do you get promoted, right? So now in my case, I was signed to an independent record label, and then a major record label came and signed a licensing deal for my album, my first album. And the good thing, though, that one of the good things that they did a few good things, but one of the good things and it was Universal Music Canada. Okay, now even when I was at Universal Music Canada, they could be like, I would have arguments with the head of the marketing and promotional departments. I would call her up and I'd say, how come you're not marketing my songs or my album in this area? And she would say to me, well, what do you know about black? What do you know about marketing and promotion? I said, well, I may not know about marketing and promotion, but what I do know is when it comes to black music and how to market black music, and y'all don't have anybody at a major record label in Canada, and I was their first black artist signed to a major record label at that label, Universal Music. And I said to them, y'all can't find somebody who could promote the record? I said, there should be street teams, there should be this, there should be that. What do you know? I said, well, this is what I know. So again, when these labels are not taking the initiative to hire artists or to sign people that can help to market these artists, the artist loses more, right? So it's a hard situation.
Do you think the area of mentorship, do you think the area of networking play a huge role in helping black individuals to break into the executive roles within this music industry?
I don't think so. I think there's still a strong networking community, if you will. There's still a strong networking community, but I also think it's the type of people that are going to these networking initiatives or opportunities or in these networking communities. Because as we both know, it's about who you know, and sometimes with people that you know, they may ask you to compromise your personal principles, values, and integrity, right? So, that's something that I would never
Have you experienced that?
No, and they know not to come to me with that. No.
Not even a suggestion?
No. You know what? I've had people suggest, and I got really upset. I started cursing. I got upset.
Now, what did they ask you to do?
Like nothing. If I'd gone past, they were offering me drugs, right? And I got, because I said no, because if I said yes to drugs, they would have pushed more, right? So you smoke some weed, or do you do cocaine? And I got mad. I said,
Makes you high on stage, right, for them, for the label?
No, because then they feel like, okay, this guy's willing to do anything. Let's see how far we can go, because they want to see how much, they see what you can compromise, right? And they see the way that I roll, they hear the way that I speak, because again, even now at my shows, I say, listen, we live in a world where you cannot proclaim the name of Jesus Christ, and I am one that will boldly stand in front of anybody and say, I proclaim the gospel in the name of Jesus Christ. And people like, don't talk to him because he's religious. I'm like, I'm not religious, but I believe in God. And I believe in Jesus Christ, and that's what I stand on. And you can't come to me with that stuff. That's why people say to me, oh, he's an angry black man. People say, Carlos Morgan's angry. No. I said, no, I'm very serious. And when I see how the music industry especially exploits black artists.
Now you've gone very far in music, in the music industry, and as an artist, and a lot of artists feel that before they perform, they need to be high. That's when they can deliver effectively.
And that's not delivering effectively at all. Because if you are not coherent, if you're not sober-minded, right? There's a scripture in the Bible that says to be sober-minded. If you're not sober-minded and you're on stage, and again, what you're doing is you're disrespecting your audience. If you come, again, even with my band, when I have a show, I'll say to my band, no alcohol on stage. Either you drink, if you need to have a drink, and don't come on stage much more or less come to the show high or none of that.
But it seems it works for most of the...
Well, it doesn't work for me. You know what? Listen. People think that I do drugs because I have a lot of energy on stage. Yeah. I can go and go, right? But you know what makes me high? Two things. God and music. I've never drank. I've never gotten into alcohol. I've never gotten into drugs. Never.
I did a song not too long ago, and as a gospel artist, I am someone with that level of energy, right?
Right.
So maybe my physical appearance most times doesn't show until I'm on stage, right?
Right.
And there's yeah, you sure?
Yeah, exactly.
So I did a song said "Going Higher," and I sang, I no need cocaine, I no need marijuana, not even alcohol. I have a Father.
Nice.
Now him be the most high.
Yeah.
He's higher than the highest.
Yeah.
All I need is Yahweh. And I fly so high.
I love it.
So, anyway, so I felt I should, ask, because I've also come across a lot of secular musicians who feel that before you go on stage, you need to be, so that's when they have the confidence, the boldness to deliver. Some even, as much as recording in the studio, they must be high.
Yeah.
They feel that that's why the inspiration comes.
Yeah, but you know what? My thing is, I hear that all the time. They say inspirational. I need to get into the spirit. And my question is, do you know if you get into the spirit, or is the spirit getting into you? And do you know what kind of spirit you're getting into? Like, you need to, like, are you hearing what you're saying? Are you thinking about what you're saying? But, I need to, get high because, it gets me in the zone. It brings on this new energy. I'm like, be careful of the energy you think you're carrying on, because, please. But they'll be like, all you want. No.
Let me ask you this. How many black labels do you know presently in Canada?
Zero.
Zero.
There no, and when there were quote unquote black labels that were started here in Canada, they would last maybe a year.
In America, in the US, there is this
black artists with the Grammys in Canada. I can't really say, but for the last few years, Drake has been the big name.
Drake.
Right?
Drake has been the big name.
He's a big name in music, right? Even with all the controversy that's going on with him now, he still has he's a big artist in Canada. The Weeknd is another big artist. He's from Toronto, another big artist from Canada. So I don't know how many Grammys they've won, but in terms of record sales, streaming, downloading, all that, Drake and Weeknd are huge.
But so why is it difficult to have this synergy with the US to make sure that this industry, especially the black, having this black executive I
think a lot of Americans don't think of Canada as really anything to
entertainment.
I think a lot of Americans, when they come up here, they're surprised. I remember a few years ago, this was maybe 30 years ago, I went to the States. I went to Cleveland, Ohio, and I went to visit a very big R&B singer at the time. He passed away. He's recently passed away. Big R&B singer at the time. And when I was there with the record label I was signed to here, and when we told him, black artist, when we told him we were from Toronto, he said two things that I was like, are you serious? First he asked, y'all have black people in Canada? That's the first question he asked. And then the second thing was, Canada? I thought y'all lived in igloos. So he thought we're all, he's surprised that there's black people up here, and they think all up in Canada is snow and ice. That's all. And I'm thinking to this guy, I said, this dude is so ignorant. And this was a major R&B soul singer. He was selling millions of records. So fast forward now, things have changed, but I think there's still some mindset when Americans think of Canada in terms of music, right? They may hear, okay, they know of Drake, they know of The Weeknd, they know of Deborah Cox, they may know of Glenn Lewis. These are black artists. Who else would they may? They possibly know who Simone Denny is. They know Melanie Fiona, they know Tamia, right? They know those artists. But again, that's just a handful, right? That's not, but compared to America.
I am of the opinion, because, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but because I felt that the entertainment industry in Canada has a huge lot of a lot of work to do. More so when you compare the closeness to the US. I think the entertainment industry, beyond whether black, white, whatever, and all that, I feel there is enormous work to be done.
Oh, there's a lot of work, but you see, the thing is, okay, understandably, there are I think 35 million people in Canada. The population of New York State alone is more than the population of Canada. Okay, so I understand we have a much smaller population than America. However, despite that, we still have a lot of talent up here. Now, again, because our population is smaller, the financial structure, the financial structure, I'll say it, leave it at that, is not as big, it's not as supportive for Canadian infrastructures as it is in America. So a lot of Americans, American and Canada, Americans and Canadians, they try to do things where over here we could bring business and get more money from America into Canada to help Canadian infrastructure and businesses, right? However, still, when it comes to racialized people, non-white people, it's still maybe 0.01%, right? So if you want to talk focusing on black music industries, they're not going to say, okay, well, we're going to send money up to Canada to help support black music industries. Look at the film industry. The film industry, the black film industry in Canada is probably worse than the black music industry in Canada. I have friends who are actors. I have friends who are directors. I act too, but I have friends who are directors and producers that work in the film industry, and they'll say the same thing. They'll probably say that in some regards, the music industry is better than the film industry in Canada, right? So, and I went to a film industry event a few weeks ago. Emma and I went, and it's the like the music industry, there aren't a lot of support for the film industry. So again, when America is coming over here, and though we're just next door to America, they're not. I don't think they're really taking us seriously. And again, Canadian artists, black artists, are going to America. So Canadian artists who are going to America, the majority of them are saying, "Yeah, we're from Canada, but we know we're going to make it big in America." So to some extent or degree, they have to relinquish their quote-unquote citizenship to this country. Canada will say, oh, we're Canada's own, Canada's own, Canada's own, or yeah, this is Canada's own so-and-so, this is Canada's own so-and-so. But, they'll only do so much.
Well, Carlos.
Yes.
I believe in subsequent editions we should be able to just say one or two things in this direction and all that. So, because there are a few things I want to ask in this direction, I believe I would get your thoughts on them as we continue.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, man, again. Yeah, man. Looking forward to more, man, and to talking to the audience. And just want to say one last thing to the audience is, as I said before in a previous segment, that we should support one another, that we should, pour into each other, pour into our artists that are here in Canada, that are in all genres of black music. And again, beyond music, just as a people, let's come together, let's unite, let's join together, because as my brother here said before, we are more powerful together than we are apart. So I just hope that we as a people can unify, we can unite, we must unite, because we are all we have. Of course, there are internal problems with everybody, everybody within their groups, and, we all have their problems, but you know what? If we can put our problems aside and work together, we can overcome those problems. So let's support one another. I love y'all people, man.
Thank you. All right, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for being part of it. Please send in your comments, and we appreciate all that.
Yes.
All right. See you in the next episode, right?